Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast, a weekly live show where we explore the power of culture and leadership in business. I'm Ryan McCarty.
And I'm George Rogers, and we go live every week to learn from each other and hear from other experts about how to effectively champion our team members and ourselves. So join us live every Wednesday on our social networks or subscribe. You can listen to Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Now, let's champion your culture.
What's happening, man? What's happening, yo?
What's up?
Wasabi.
You know, funny wasabi. I was literally eating hibachi Friday or Saturday night. I think it was. Family went out, and I love wasabi, and it's different.
Yeah,
if you're not prepared for it, and I happen to
hot.
Yeah, I get an extra little plump on the plate, and what I do is once I get my food, I mix it in my rice.
Okay.
Because I like a little kick. So I get filet, chicken,
right,
and then I just dump it all on there. And it's not good to just stir and assume that it's stirred. Because once you just start eating, man, I got a good lump of that wasabi sauce. And I tell you what, I was wasabi.
You feel it in the back, like it goes all the way up into your eye.
Yeah.
I mean, it just really takes over. It's kind of like St. Elmo's, downtown Indy, for those. And welcome everyone to the show today. If you go to Indianapolis downtown, you got to get the
St. Elmo's shrimp
cocktail, man. They have that fresh horseradish sauce in there. And I mean, it's I think they have competitions every year where like Joey Chestnut comes.
It's the first Saturday of December.
How do you know this?
Because it coincides with the Big Ten championship.
Okay.
The Ohio State Invitation. That, you know, the team up north has been cheating.
So here's the question: How do you register to be a participant in that? Because that would be, I could do that.
You think you can eat a pound of shrimp in 2 minutes?
Man, I could eat 2 pounds of shrimp.
Or do you just want to do it because you want to enjoy the free shrimp?
I love their shrimp cocktail, but
I don't blame you.
It changes your life. If you the first time you eat it, it changes your perspective about what food is all about. I'll just say that. It's an experience.
Yeah, I'm not a huge, so I like shrimp, popcorn shrimp. I like my shrimp fried.
Right.
I'm not a real
I'll tear it up.
But I will say for everybody that does go to St. Elmo's, you have to, it's like the rule, you have to get that.
Yeah.
Especially on your first try. You gotta at least try it. I've tried it. It's actually one of my favorite restaurants.
Is it?
It is. I really like St. Elmo's.
St. Elmo's is known for their steaks and all that, but they're really known for that shrimp cocktail is ridiculous. Anyway. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. If you have if you're listening and you have something really cool about your city, we're foodies, George and I. So if we ever get out there on the road and we keynote together and speak and travel and do workshopping with leaders, there's the plug. If you want to bring culture good and champion your culture within your business and create the kind of culture that we all want to work for and work, you know what it is, man. We love traveling and we're foodies. Asheville, North Carolina.
Shout out to Asheville. There is some really good food there. Karate. That was really good spot that we really enjoy. It was the first time that I was willing to eat a whole fish. It
was just all sitting there.
It was,
you eat the
skin and everything.
Oh,
it was,
man.
Yeah, it was different. It was definitely different.
I would have ate the eyeballs out of that thing. If
that's where you're crossing the line. That's where I say you're different.
I'm different. Yeah, I'm different.
Look at it. See, we got a rap song. I didn't have to go soprano there. You noticed that? I stayed in tune with everything that was going on there. Yeah. Welcome everybody.
Yeah.
To
Champion Your Culture,
the podcast with Ryan McCarty and George Rogers. I'm excited about being here today with you. I know that, you know, we're getting old, man. And with
let's
old
talk about it.
With old age comes uncertainty.
Yeah.
If it's hard, you use it. If it's soft, don't trust it.
Yeah.
And you got to think about what you're going to do before you do it.
Yeah. You were talking about like weeks ago that you tweaked your back just trying to put up pancake mix.
Yeah. What's your story? You look like
I don't even. My story is I'm old.
Yeah.
there ain't no other story, man. My back is just completely falling apart. You know, I feel like my soul. You think your soul is in your heart or maybe in your mind. My soul is in my lower back, man.
Yeah.
My soul is broken, brother. Because anytime I feel that pain, I'm just like, man, what's going on?
What's going
on?
There we go. See, you're trying to tempt me to
I want to hear you sing, man.
You know, I want. This is another question. So we want to know about food places out there. Like, what's your favorite food spot in your location, or maybe like if there's a hole in the wall type of city, like that small town, and not a lot of people are gonna know.
I love that.
Like, what's one of the best meals you've ever had out there? If you're in the audience today and you're listening to this, whether it's live or you listen to it on the podcast platform afterwards, I'm still interested. I like to read the info and people chatting with us.
Well, here's an interesting fact about Hoosierland here in Indiana.
Yep.
We're famous for what? The tenderloin. Fried tenderloin. And there's people listening from all over the world. And when they hear that, they have no idea, because they're going to read that and they're going to read it and it's going to sound disgusting because it sounds like this tenderloin.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat a tenderloin.
Tenderloins are really
I'll eat a tenderloin.
Yeah.
Fried tenderloin sandwich. If you're ever in Indiana,
lettuce, mayo, onion. You can throw a pickle or pickles on there and tomato.
Oh, you could put anything on it. I love ketchup, mustard.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I want it packed up, but I want the tenderloin to reach over the bun. So if the bun is this big,
the tenderloin has to be 2 inches. It's like a 2-inch minimum.
I want to eat some of the tenderloin when I'm dipping it in the chocolate.
I was like, whoa!
Oh shoot, tenderloin with dipping in chocolate. Actually, that might be good.
You're crossing the line.
Okay,
you're crossing the line.
Dip in that ketchup. I meant ketchup.
Ketchup is a lot better than chocolate.
Tenderloin.
Chocolate tenderloin.
That sounds like something that'd be at the Indiana State Fair.
Yeah, that's definitely not winning on that.
Yeah, no, that's a loss. But anyway.
So outside of the back, how has your week been?
It's been really good.
Yeah.
Well, the back has had me just kind of like at home, resting it, right? Doing everything that I can. I put the TENS unit on it. I'm taking aspirin and Tylenol every 4 hours. I'm doing like the full thing. I'm putting oils on it. I'm like heat, cold, the whole deal. But yeah, DJ is home. He's part of our family. I call him my future son-in-law. Shout out to DJ.
Shout out to DJ. Go DJ.
Go DJ. And so he's home and with us, and it's just been good because it feels like the nucleus is back together. You know what I'm saying? And it's just been fulfilling because we were talking about it last night, the sense of wanting to feel like you belong.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find that in the world, especially if you grew up in like a community that you're not a part of any longer, right? Those of us that maybe grew up in for instance, we grew up in church, right? You have that nucleus, that community, you belong the whole time.
Yeah.
You don't even question, where do I belong in this world? You just show up every Sunday. But then when you don't have that community, sometimes you feel lost. And it's nice to know when you come home, there's a sense of belonging around family. And I've felt that this week, man. It's been really good. How about you?
It's been good. I, we were sick for previous week.
Yeah.
And, so I got to spend 5 extra days with my little man. So that was really cool.
Shout out to
D-Money Dexter.
Yeah.
And so we spent a lot of time together. What I realized is that, obviously the pandemic allowed us to spend a lot of time, but we still enjoy our time. Like, at the end of the day, like Dexter likes to go to his room.
Yeah.
So over the weekend, I really focused on like my office and cave.
Mm-hmm.
I believe every man needs a cave.
Yeah.
The important thing is, especially if you have a significant other, is that they understand how long to allow you in the cave, because you can't stay in the cave too long.
Even women need a cave.
Yes.
The she shed.
Yeah, the she shed. I'm not agreeing with the she shed.
Cheryl always has a she shed.
Who's Cheryl?
I think it's an Allstate commercial. You don't remember the Cheryl she shed that catches on fire?
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, okay. So the man cave in the she shed.
Whatever. Touche. 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 So yeah, we spend a lot of time. The only thing I got left in my office, man cave, is I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with my shoes. So in the meantime, I just have some here.
Yo, talk about it. Talk about it. These shoes are sick.
So these are probably two of my favorites. I got the top three. If I brought the other ones, would be the Nike Moon Landings. They look like the moon.
Yeah.
Those are probably my favorite. So these here are actually custom. They call the donuts. So they're Homer Simpson,
Love it.
design. And yes, it's a donut shoe. Very cool. Got
Man,
the Simpson clouds on the inside.
If my feet were 13s,
yeah,
those mugs would disappear today, brother. Let me
so
tell
those
you.
they're cool. And then these right here, my wife says these are ugly shoes. She just doesn't have flavor and style. You're actually supposed to shave this a little bit.
I wouldn't,
but I'm not gonna shave it. I don't even know if I'm gonna wear them.
You might, yeah.
I haven't worn them yet.
I would just leave those be, man.
But yeah, these are
Let me see those.
pretty dope, man. Those are
those are heavier than I thought they were gonna be.
Yeah, the soles are thick, bro.
We've got an alarm going off in the building.
Hopefully this is not an alarm check. But yeah, welcome to live podcasting where you're in the studio and
yeah, it felt like I was stealing these, man. Because the second I grabbed them, the alarm went off.
The way you looked at it, I was like, nah.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
So, like in every workplace, we're looking around to make sure nobody's running out of the building right now. We have an exit right out here, so no worries, we're good.
Strobe
hopefully,
lights.
they can turn off the strobe lights. I'm not sure if you can actually see that on the podcast or not, but anyway, yeah, this idea that we're going to talk about today, George, is just like right down both of our alleys about loving what you do every day. And that's hard to talk about. And I understand that it's difficult. It's a difficult conversation because it's a very privileged idea that work can be something that you enjoy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember working concrete construction and it was never enjoyable. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like 16 years old and I was having I was just given a shovel and a pile of pea gravel.
Yeah.
And my boss would be like, okay, I'm going to be back in 6 hours. Go ahead and move this pile, spread it out. That's not enjoyable work. I would never, ever enjoy that work. The question is, how do we craft our passion into what we do?
Yeah.
And how do we take what we do every day as an ongoing task and find something meaningful, fulfilling, and purposeful in it so that we can fully engage with what we're doing, engage with our team. As leaders, if we don't love what we do, then that's going to translate to a workplace and a culture where people feel the same.
Yeah.
Right? People are going to feel how you feel as a leader.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's that energy. Like if
you're not inspired, how in the world are you going to inspire
others? Yeah. It's almost impossible, but people do it. People try.
They do.
People try because there's some people, there's leaders that don't have that inspiration. They don't have that openness, that vulnerability piece that I think thriving leaders do. Not necessarily vulnerable. Like this is our life now. We are very vulnerable to the T. Like we there's not a lot that I will hide from a person.
Yeah.
There's like a little small something that I won't tell people.
Yeah.
In our house, like what I still got the rule that I grew up with in the 80s. What happens in this house stays in this house.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so
I think that's smart too. I think you have to have boundaries.
Yeah, you got boundaries within there, but there's some vulnerability in there, and some people try. I will say attempt to inspire others. Some of that is, hey, I'm not an inspirational leader at all or a motivational leader. A lot of people like to use those things, and they just say, I'm just me.
Yeah.
But we learn other people.
Yeah.
Right. We learn the behaviors of, our employees and what inspires them.
I think
right?
it's interesting because
It's more than the pizza party.
Yeah.
Pizza doesn't inspire.
Well,
You know?
pizza inspires me.
Yeah, that's different. So, right.
Yeah.
So I can give you pizza and I can give you coffee.
Right.
Like if I find local coffee shops, I can inspire. I like that.
I'm happy as hell about
you
it.
get happy about it.
Yeah.
Your daughter loves tea, like tea. So if I find a special tea shop,
that's important to her. You got to know your people and what motivates them. That rehumanizes the business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it may not inspire them, right? But it shows that you care. You listen.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line, and know that I enjoy tea.
Yeah.
More than I do coffee.
Right. And because I know that is an indicator to you that I know something about you that's important to you. And that makes you feel important.
Right.
As a team member, being able to know people on a personal level in a professional setting, that's the power.
Yeah.
The power is knowing people personally in a professional setting. Yeah. You've got to not everything about the person, right? We don't want to come into work and share everything, Yeah. You don't want to, you don't want to be walking around, telling all your secrets. You know what I'm saying? But you do want to have the ability to come in and be real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And to be open and to experience that. When you were talking about being an inspirational leader, I think sometimes we think to be inspirational, we have to be charismatic. We have to be a good speaker. We have to put we have to be able to say things that like invoke inspiration in people. Some of the most inspirational leaders that I've experienced throughout my life maybe weren't the best speakers.
Yeah.
But something about their life inspired me. It was how they lived up to their values. It was how they cared about their family. It was how they cared about themselves. It was how they understood what it meant to have a work-life harmony. You know what I'm saying? It was, those things are inspiring to me. A lot of times we think in order to be inspiring, we have to say inspiring things.
Yeah.
Like we have to walk around like we're a TikTok video or something. You know what I'm saying?
Quote waiting to come out of your
ears. That's not inspiration. What we're talking about in an inspirational way is, how do I inspire to be more like that person? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That leadership where people are like, okay, they're not just a boss or a manager, but there's aspects of their life that I love to see. I would love to see grow in my life.
Right.
That to me is where you become an inspirational leader, where you're consistently living up to your values, where people understand that you're a real person, where you're there for people. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look back over your life, and those that are listening, if you think about this, like who are the leaders that stand out to you throughout your life? A lot of times they weren't the best to articulate an idea.
Yeah.
They may not have had the skill of charisma or, that nature of like being able to get on a stage or to walk through a building and everybody's like inspired just because they smell their cologne or their perfume. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're just, the inspirational leader where people can look and say, I want to walk like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I want my life to reflect that. Like we were talking about last week, like that mirror effect.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I want to mirror that, right? I want to be a reflection of that type of person.
Yeah.
That's leadership, man. It's like, you're really leading, not just professionally. The leaders that have had the most profound impact on your life were not the most professional. They were the most personal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They weren't the most perfect.
Yeah, they were just consistent of who they were, right? And it was rarely about what they said.
Yeah.
Which makes it even more impactful, because when they do say something, you know that it's going to happen. You know that they're going to fulfill that promise. And the reason why is because their actions is why I followed them.
Yeah.
Right? The actions of their lifestyle, that, man, they suck just like I suck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they love deeper than anything this world could ever imagine.
I always say, like, if you don't love people, you can't lead them.
Yeah.
how are you going to lead somebody you don't love, man? Yeah. I mean, that was something that we understood when we, for those that don't know, George and I both were full-time pastors at one point, and the idea of loving people was just in the nature of that kind of work.
Right.
And then you come into just your regular everyday corporate life, and the idea of loving people seems almost like it doesn't fit. Yeah. I remember when I first, in the church, like every leader, you just go up and give them a hug right away. Yeah. But that's not normal in a workplace. And when I first came into corporate, I had no context, man. I'd never worked in a regular job in that sense. I started preaching when I was 15 years old and never got into any, normal workplace. When I came in after 20 years in full-time ministry, I just walked around hugging everybody, man. They were like, hug? I was like, yeah. Now what happens in this company? Hugs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? High fives. Not everybody's comfortable with that. That's fine. But it's like that idea that in order to lead people well, there's an element of loving people. And I think if you don't even like people, it's really, really, it's going to be near impossible to lead them.
Yeah.
How do you lead people you don't even like, man? And I talk to leaders all the time that don't like people.
Yeah, they don't like people, and they don't even like their position, but the check is really good at times.
Yeah. Yeah. They like the paycheck.
Yeah.
Well, this is different.
They're consistent to the box.
So here's what we're talking about today. We're talking about liking more than your paycheck.
Yeah.
Loving more than your paycheck, like going to work for more than that, like purpose beyond that, understanding that you can craft what you love. And here's a misnomer too, that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up. I've loved what I've done all the time. I feel the work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As a matter of fact, you'll work even harder when you love. Statistics show that satisfaction, when you are able to look at whether people are able to align their passions with their profession, that when they're able to do that, there's a 30% increase in job satisfaction and a 20% increase in productivity.
30% in job satisfaction, 20% in productivity.
Mm-hmm.
I think about this and get a little bit more personal. Something I discovered this weekend. I think it was Sunday. I was just kind of gathering myself, and I realized I was actually thinking about you, and I realized,
thanks, man.
Yeah, I realized why we're always happy as people. Dopamine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a chemical that we get, energy that we get. And I after a call with a good friend, I consider him a mentor of my life, but he's like, I'm your friend. And I'm like, I look up to you.
Yeah.
And we have this unique relationship similar to you and I. I look up to you. And
he's somebody, a friend tour.
And you're a coaching, a friend-oach. Not like the roaches that we had in the hood.
Oh God!
But you're a friend
roach,
a friend coach,
a friendly roach.
But it's always about you get this. It's not about finishing that gives you that dopamine. It's about the progress of beginning, that passion of dreaming and putting something together.
Yeah.
One thing that we really love doing is dreaming. We love creating that. It's that beginning of that process. Now, what we both struggle with is, carrying the task, delegating the task, and letting it run and to completion, right?
Yep.
And I've always struggled with the completion of things. Like championships. After the championship, what's next? There's nothing. Like I'm always trying to look forward to the next thing. So when I feel like something's coming to an end, I'm preparing myself for the next thing.
You never really fully enjoy the moment of. But also, what about the end?
Yeah. So the end is great.
Yeah.
But it doesn't release that dopamine. That dopamine comes from the dream, the beginning stages of everything. And I think about, when we talk about why are most businesses successful within 6 to 8 months, but they don't last 2 to 5 years is because that dopamine, that energy, that passion that we get to start is not the same passion that we have at the end of it, because it's about the beginning stages. That foundational stage is what we get excited about.
Yeah.
The hard work, dedication, long hours. A lot of people said, I don't want to work for nobody else. I want to make up my own hours and be my own boss.
Yeah.
The problem with that, Ryan, is that when you have your own business, you don't have hours.
Yeah.
You miss Christmas. You don't see Easter, right? Because that's your thing. You got to work in the beginning.
Yeah.
Now, if you are fruitful and you stick to it in longevity, you stay with that passion, then you can get there to where you're working your 9 to 5 if you want to, or your 9 to 2.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
That takes time.
But it's that beginning passion.
Yeah.
That we have. How do we keep that passion?
How do you keep your passion alive? You think of it very much like keeping a campfire going. I mean, somebody has to stay up and throw another log on.
Yeah.
That is interesting, because in the early stages, the logs are fresh ideas and they're, inspirational moments of brainstorming with a team, or maybe it's even the passion of having that job when you first get it. You know what I'm saying? It's not even in the entrepreneurial space. It's just how exciting it is, and that feeling of dopamine when you find out you get that job. Yeah. But then you get into the work, and then you're in the culture. There's no perfect culture. Yours doesn't have to suck, right?
Right.
There's no perfect culture. And so you're in the culture, you're actually learning what the culture is, not what they put on a billboard before you got hired. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're finding, not everybody lives up to the values that, like, you thought they were going to live up to the values, and it gets discouraging. And what happens in those moments where you lose you lose that sense of that feeling that you're talking about, that early stage of passion starts to wane, because the realities of what work is start to set in. So how do you keep the passion alive? How do you do it?
I think for me, it's a constant reminder of why I started. I have this rule, right, of remembering my why.
Yeah.
But the rule for me is, before I can give up, I got to give it one more day.
Yeah.
So as I'm giving it one more day, now there's rarely back-to-back days where I just feel like, I'm feeling this again. Like, yeah. Now, if there's ever a case of that, I have to evaluate where I'm at.
Yeah.
And am I who I wanted to be when I said I wanted to be?
That self-reflection.
That self-reflection. Yeah.
Week, yeah.
And so I self-reflect a lot, and I try to find the fault in me versus the fault I see. So before I try to blame you or anything else around me, what is it about George that can change this situation?
Yeah.
And that allows me to, again, it then connects, it triggers, right? There's an action. Personally, something that I do, if you're ever around me, there's 2 things that I do when I'm walking around or sitting down. I'm either singing, humming, or whistling. Mm-hmm. Whistling triggers a reminder for me. Right. Whistling, for some people, have different things. We talk about childhood whistling, the trauma of childhood whistling, and those things, and going through those phases. But me whistling is just a reminder and a reflection. Yeah. Like, bring yourself back down.
Yeah.
Remember your why.
Yeah.
Right.
This is interesting. Maybe it is the whistle. Wasn't it the 7 drawers? Whistle while you work. Right. What is that though? Yeah, you do. Yeah. I love that sultry voice, but that soprano's nice. Yeah. But yeah, that's the idea. How do you whistle while you work?
Yeah.
It's still work, but how are you whistling?
Yeah.
How are you crafting in this another feeling than just I've got to go to work?
Yeah.
The case of the Mondays, right?
Right.
Or like, God, I'm back at work. I'm doing this. I think when we craft our passion in, I've spoke on this before to as a keynote, passion crafting. And the idea with passion crafting is you identify not just what you love about your work, but what you love about your life. And how do you craft that into your work?
Yeah.
How do you bring what you love? I mean, this show is me and you passion crafting, right? We love this.
Right.
We didn't have this a year ago. Well, it's been a year, right? So a little bit over a year ago we started, but But bringing this in to what we do, you know, if you love like talking and presenting and having these discussions, this just made sense.
Yeah.
This brings life to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I look forward to jumping on with you live every single week.
Right.
On the weeks that sometimes we're like, man, it's going to be a difficult, like next week is like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Who's going to jump on the day before? Are y'all going to jump on the day before Thanksgiving?
I think next week, I'm excited about next week because I think our focus should be Thanksgiving food and HR. Like, how does, maybe not necessarily HR, just work.
Yeah.
Like, what food represents work? Like turkey. What is the turkey to your job? Like, what makes you what makes you sleepy?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Because turkey got that, it puts you in a coma.
Yeah, it does.
Like, what is that thing? What is the casserole of your job? Like, what is that? Throwing
what's the collard greens?
Yeah.
See, in my home, we're talking about some different stuff.
Who's the hot sauce?
When we're eating Thanksgiving, it's a little bit different because we got hot water cornbread. Yeah. I've got Southern soul food for Thanksgiving, man. So we're going to talk about some soul food too, because soul food is different
than your food.
You know what I'm saying? Soul food takes time, and there's a level of investment.
Thanksgiving with soul food is a 2-day process. Minimum.
Yeah. Oh, minimum. Yeah.
Like my grandma started cooking on Tuesday evening.
Lots of preparation, man. That's the kind of Thanksgiving we're eating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the grills are going.
I'm getting hungry now.
So next week we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving food. Yeah. We're just going to talk about food next week.
The laws of there's some things that you're going to learn. There's some tips that I'm gonna give. Like,
okay.
The tips from my family.
Okay.
I'll give you some things that can help you out on Thursday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
good, yeah.
Like prepare yourself. This is what you should do.
Yeah.
And record it and send it to me. Like, I'm gonna give you some true fundamental concepts and strategies on the art of Thanksgiving with George.
Yeah. Yeah. How to deal with the crazy family
how to deal with the family members. Like how to be in line.
Yeah.
Right.
With how to be in line with your in-laws.
Yeah. Exactly. Like,
and your outlaws.
Don't trust everybody that's behind you.
Nah.
I went to one Thanksgiving with my wife, and I won't finish the story for sentimental secret purposes. It happens in the house. But there is a story where I went to, I think it was my first Thanksgiving with my wife.
Yeah.
We were dating at the time, and I was behind, I was in front of her uncle. That was the last Thanksgiving that I was, in front of her uncle.
Yeah. Like, why is it always the uncle?
Everybody has that one.
We're going to call him Uncle Junebug. Uncle Junebug is not invited this year.
Yeah.
P.S. It's okay not to invite your family members if you don't want them there.
That's true.
We could talk about boundaries too, but let's get back to the
because I'm not thankful for. I'm joking.
No, seriously. Yo,
back to passion. Though.
Yeah. But that's the idea is like, how do you craft the passion? So you're saying getting self-reflection, huge, right? Being able to think about who am I? Right? Yeah. What do I love?
Yeah.
Like what hobbies do I have? What are things that make me tick? What's my personality about? I love walking by someone's office or cubicle and you can just see their nature, their personality. You know what I'm saying? I can look at these shoes and I know something about you.
Right.
Like you've brought yourself into this space today. I love that you did this because that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Even having shoes next to you, I'm sure feels different than just sitting here.
Yeah.
Because it's something you love, man. Yeah. You look over, like I look back over here. I see this picture of me, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, that brings some life to me.
Yeah. There's some reminders.
What do you think about that, George?
This is the post stage. But I remember the curly hair Ryan.
Yeah, I had a perm.
Yeah, I remember the curly hair Ryan. I never recall you ever sitting like that.
you know where this was taken?
Where was this taken? Is that like you?
Nah, this is in one of the, those traveling photographers that show up at motels?
Ah, it was at a motel.
At a motel.
Hotel Holiday
Inn. Say what?
Okay.
Yeah, at a motel. I mean, I could have been snatched up, dude.
Oh, wow.
I ended up in room 236. You know what I'm saying?
Doing photography.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
The modeling career didn't go too far, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
he's here with us.
It really didn't.
He's here with us.
But yeah, like bring your personality. Like that's one thing. It's a very simple thing. Like you look around your space at work. Where are you? What represents you? You know?
Yeah.
And not just that, but like I was at here's a really good example. I was at a Italian restaurant, and one of the waiters out of the blue just started belting out like opera. I mean, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And he was just belting it out, and then everybody that was eating just clapped, and it was really fun. But I've met people that like love to sing, and they can bring that into their work. I'm not suggesting you want to walk around the office all the time singing and driving everybody crazy. And if you don't have a great voice, please do not sing. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you know, sing. Yeah.
Got a voice of angel.
Secret. Yeah.
But the angel died.
Yeah. The angel's drunk.
Yeah. I understand that.
And, but bringing that in, like, what do you love to do? You know,
yeah.
How can you bring aspects of, your hobbies, what you collect, what you enjoy, talking about, things that bring life to you.
Yeah.
And bringing that into your work. And also not just that, what drives you to make an impact in the world?
Yeah.
Like when we talk about culture of good, that's what we're really talking about.
Yeah.
People showing up to work, knowing that what they do and why they do it, is informing their life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That it's not just about what I have to get done as a task, but to your point, it's why I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
It's my why. And at the end of the day, if I can align my passion with my profession, I'm aligning my why with my what.
Yeah.
I'm bringing what I love about me into my work.
Yeah.
That's passion crafting.
Yeah.
That's saying I don't necessarily have to love my work. I have to love me and bring that into my work. And when I love me in my work, then my work becomes more lovable.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So for it then it starts with self-discovery is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Because that reflection of what you truly love, that passion that brings you joy. You know, for me, one of the things that brings me joy outside of shoes is music, right? I've taught myself keys, taught myself drums. Now, I wouldn't say that I'm great at either one of them. I'm good. I'm okay. I'll keep the music going and flowing.
Yeah.
I'll try something here and there to kind of, you know, funk it up a little bit. But how do we integrate those things, identifying those passions, right? For me, brainstorming, how can I integrate music, right? Everything that I do, whether I'm playing music, Spotify's on, you know, there's a SoundCloud, there's an actual website where you can just, you know, plug in these speakers, you can play them. One of the things I love to do when we had our AT locations is that we use this same system. Yeah. And I can play the same song every store, right? Or I can do it individually, or we have themes. We let our managers typically and the employees kind of pick their own. Love, but every once in a while, we'll jump on cameras and we call it marriage. Yeah. And that's when you spend too much time with the customer. And so every once in a while, I'll jump over there. I'm like, man, this like, is it taking you this long to upsell or do this? And I'll just play "Here Comes the Bride" on the sound. So like for me, that music, they all like a lot of people already identify, hey, George, that music. Yeah. George is playing this style. This is the mood that he's in. Yeah. So integrating that, it also brings in a connection with those around you as well. But how do you, as an individual, those who are listening to us, really merge and incorporate the elements that you're passionate about into the workplace? Can you? Is there a way to be able to do it? Because some people have different passions. Yeah. Right. And it's not necessarily something that can be done. Like, for instance, I'm not in a leadership position, but I have a passion to mentor and coach other people outside of my work. This is what I do. How do I do that under the umbrella of my true leadership without offending, right? Because there's always that eggshell walking, like, I don't want to make that person feel like I'm trying to take over their job, but I'm just passionate about loving and leading other people.
I love that.
And so being able to incorporate ways, and I would always say, hey, listen, take that passion to your leader, see what they do with it. We talk about RSVP, right? And one of those is strengths. What are your strengths? I'm really strong. And sometimes our passion becomes a strength of ours, right? And so incorporating those and exploring the opportunities that we can pivot that not necessarily into a career in the job, but it becomes something that it's that marriage, a unification, right? That we do together. What I'm really good at, I don't always use inside of my marriage.
Yeah.
Right. I don't do that all the time. There's a time and a purpose and a place for those things.
Yeah.
But when you can merge those things together, and as we're saying, that passion with the profession, it creates a sense of purpose. And one of my favorite words, not engagement, but fulfillment at work.
Yeah.
When you're able to align what you're passionate about doing.
That goes beyond satisfaction.
Yeah, it's
I really don't want people satisfied.
And that's why people feel like I'm not working because I'm living my passion. What happens when you have a job that's not your passion? Take your passion to work.
Yeah.
We say bring your soul to work.
Right. That's it. Yeah. I mean, your soul, the passion is the motivator of the soul. If you don't know what your passion, that's like doing a self-assessment. Yeah. Being able to self-assess and say, what am I passionate about? What are my passions and where do they intersect with my career? Right? Where's that intersection and how can I create that intersection?
Yeah.
One of the quotes I used to say a lot is, I find my calling when my greatest passion collides with my greatest contribution to make the world better. I find my calling when my greatest passion collides with my greatest contribution. That intersection of contribution and passion. It's how do I bring my passion to work and contribute in meaningful ways? That brings that fulfillment.
Yeah.
And again, some people may be listening to this podcast and say, well, I'm just going to work for a paycheck and I kind of don't love what I do. And how do I do this? And again, it's not about always just loving what you do. It's loving why you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not that I talked to child life specialists at, for instance, Riley Hospital for Children, and they're working with, serving in areas where they're helping kids that are burn victims. And I mean, really brutal scenarios in these kids' lives and families' lives. And they're there to provide that emotional and even spiritual and just being able to connect with them and to be a helping hand for that family and for that child as they're going through treatments or whatever is going on. They may not love what they have to do every day.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I know they hate it.
Yeah.
They hate when another kid comes in.
Yeah.
But they love why they do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The impact that they get through. Even if it's for a split second, bringing that kid, joy,
remembering
smile,
why, remembering your why.
Yeah.
Why, in that piece of it, knowing your why, being able to self-assess and being able to find where your passion collides with your contribution, where you can bring your passion into your career and you can contribute in meaningful ways. That's what brings the fulfillment.
So we say self-discovery. And then in that self-discovery, when you started bringing your passion into your profession, then having a self-assessment, right? Pursue continuous learning. For me, like I'm always trying to get better at things that I'm passionate about, even though it may not be a career. But I always say when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So if something does come and somebody wants to invest in my passion, although it may not be perfect, passion is not always perfect.
Yeah.
Sometimes passion is from pain, right? My passion comes from a pain.
Yeah.
And that's okay. How do you align that? So bringing in that continuous learning, self-development, self-assessment. We always talk about, leadership development and the importance of that in those areas of your life or in your job of interest.
Mm-hmm.
Investing in learning and skill development in those areas related to your personal passions and ensuring that you can bring that best self into the workplace.
Yeah.
Man, there's nothing like that when you're investing in yourself, small passion, but you're also bringing that small passion to work, that growth and development. It brings you out. I know that this music, as I said, brings me out of my phone.
Yeah.
It brings me out of that burnout feeling. It brings me out of, some of those struggles. So as I'm doing that, my investment to myself, we talk about how do we invest in ourselves all the time. My investment in myself is learning a new song.
Yeah.
Finding a new style, not just being stuck in one genre. I can go from opera to country. I know a lot of people don't like anything out there, but I love to dance. So I can go that's what I did. I went and saw one of my good friends, one of my former, when I was a pastor, my bass player, armor bearer, Mike Hogan.
Yeah.
Plays in a band called Toy Factory. They play a lot around the city of Indianapolis, well known. And so I went out and I went dancing.
Yeah.
I went dancing Saturday night.
Dancing.
Yeah. I got some videos, but I ain't gonna show it.
Yeah.
But being able to bring that passion into that is important as well. And I think about the self-discovery, self-assessment, investment into yourself and pursuing that purpose and that connection.
Mm-hmm.
The impact that it does. You shared a stat about the job satisfactory, like you feel satisfied 30%,
it increases
and then 20% of the productivity.
Yeah.
Man, imagine the impact that your passion bringing it to work not only does for you, but the impact that it does also for the culture, the engagement, the team.
Well,
when they see that, the impact that they do that for the organization.
And that's the secret too, because when we think about an organization, we're thinking about it on 3 levels: self, team, and business, right? So, and we do this within our give back. We do this as far as the check-ins. It's all about, how are you engaged and effective? How is your team engaged and effective? And how is the business engaged and effective? Right.
Yeah.
And so how do you build then and create a passion culture, right? Like a passion driven culture, which is really interesting. It's fostering an environment where team members are able to identify their passions.
Right.
And this is why it's so important, as we've been talking about, as leaders, to know how to self-assess and how to self-discover and how to invest in oneself. Because your team will become a reflection of you. Like we talked about that mirror effect last week. And so as you build passion into your work and into your career and into what you do every day, and your why, then you're able then to foster an environment where your team members then can, you can help them discover their passion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing for a leader to be able to say, yeah, I bring my soul to work. It's a whole nother thing to say, I've created a culture where every one of my team members bring their soul to work.
That's important.
Yeah.
That's important. I want to read a couple of these in our live. We got some followers that have been part of it. I just want to read a couple of these because I asked the question. What's your passion? Comments? These are comments from the live. And so shout out to Philippia over in Ghana.
Yes,
one of our faithful supporters out there. Shout out to her. She said her passion is seeing people happy. And so just being a part of it. We talked about the Raleigh Children's Hospital, being able to have that passion and that gift of putting a smile on kids' faces that are going through some struggles, that are hearing news that destroys the hearts and the minds of parents, but the kids have that strength with them, and then you get people that are
too when we think about it on a that's a grand level, but when we think about it on just an everyday level too, I'm sure that bringing a smile to someone sometimes, like, when we're walking through a hallway at work, we don't realize what somebody just smiled at me. Seriously, as I'm talking about this, what happened to me made me smile. Sometimes it's not this toxic positivity where we have to walk around, everybody's happy and but it's, when you're in a space where you can be there present, and be able to smile, just even smiling at somebody walking down the hallway, making up your mind that I'm going to intentionally make 5 people smile today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just by smiling at them.
Yeah.
Like every day, that's going to be my goal.
Yeah.
Right. That's crafting your passion in.
Yeah.
And that's a way to just very practically do that. Or going by someone's office and noticing they brought in something that they love, like your shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just noticing somebody.
Yeah.
People want to be seen and heard. And when they're seen and heard, that brings that happiness.
Yeah.
And so that's a beautiful thing. Thanks for sharing.
Yep. Lamont said this. He said, I'm passionate about being able to impact and build and develop relationships. I can definitely use this at work during our collaborative meetings and moments to provide feedback to the team members and fellow managers. And one thing is certain, it doesn't happen in one day. Be diligent, be patient. Kenneth, another faithful supporter out there, says, my passion is taking care of people. Treat them the way I want to be treated. So we got a lot of good people out there. Those are just a few. Keep on sending them. I enjoy seeing, people's passions, like what drives them, and being able to take that to work. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out to John Brewer, our good friend up in Canada. John, he always jumps on too. I'm not sure if he's on today, but John, he's the conference bard.
Okay.
And what he helps lead conferences, MC, design conferences for events. Like he's the first person to invite me into Canada to speak. And from there, traveled all over Canada. And John was the first one to open the door for me. So I want to give him a shout out. You know what he does?
What's that?
At the end of so he'll listen to every speaker during the conference and all their points and everything. At the end of the conference, he breaks the whole conference down with poetry.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's his passion. And he's probably the only person I know that does that. And that's it. And because of that, he stands out in the world.
Yeah.
That's his business differentiator. And listen, if you're planning an event or a conference, get a hold of John. I mean, he's amazing. He's done it for years, decades. That's what he does.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there planning events and stuff, but you want to bring someone like John in, because he's not just going to come and MC an event or help plan the event and, help implement and facilitate and everything else. At the end of it, you're going to get a really great piece of poetry that breaks the entire conference down. It's beautiful. And that's just another example of like, how do you take what you do already and make it something that is special to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another way to do that, I think, is within organizations, seek out projects or initiatives that align with your personal interests. So your job duties and responsibility is what you're expected to do. But anything extra, one of the things that I do is that if it aligns with something I'm really passionate about doing, then I'll say yes. But I don't have a problem saying no.
Yeah.
Because anything extra, I want that extra to be something I'm passionate about doing.
This is
so
interesting.
I want to encourage people, like when you take the balance of work and you say, why do you adding more to my plate? We talk again, shout out to RSVP, Ryan McCarty, right? Roles. How's your roles changed, George? Well, my roles changed because this is my job description, my job duties and responsibilities. But I've sought after initiatives and different projects that align with my personal interests.
Yeah.
That then connects to my purpose, my passion, my why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why are you doing all this extra stuff? Because I'm passionate about that. So that thing that I'm passionate about gives me life to do the thing that I get paid to do.
Yeah.
That sometimes I'm not really passionate about. I'm not really passionate about boxing up books and shipping them out to people. Yeah. I'm not passionate about that. But the impact of leading is, and seeing people leading themselves and leading the life they love, right? That is something I'm passionate about doing. So if that means I have to pack up books so that somebody can read a book,
that's what I'm saying. Your what and your why.
So it balances what I'm doing to why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And it gives me a sense of purpose. So my roles change because I'm seeking after those things that I can be passionate about. So for those people who have a passion, again, George, I don't know if I can bring my passion to work. There's opportunities. Within the workplace. And if not, create opportunities. Create an opportunity that says, hey, I love music. Invite everybody out to see your favorite band.
Yeah.
Create a small work group and say, hey, we're going to clock out of work and we're going to hang out there. And what happens 9 times out of 10 when you're hanging out with people you work with? Something about work comes up.
Yeah.
But you're around your passion. You create a group. You create that camaraderie. It's something outside of it.
If that's what you love is connecting, and if you love doing that type, but other people may not love that. And that's the idea too, is as I was listening to you, not only crafting your passion in, but knowing how to say no. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's cutting what is not your passion out.
Yep.
If you're able to, not suggesting that you can do that with every task that you have, but embracing more of what you enjoy doing and what you love doing, and also being able to express that and communicate that with your manager, to be able to curate your space and your environment that you love, to be able to share that with your boss, and to be able to say, hey, I love this about my work. Can I press into that a little more?
Yeah.
I love mentoring people. Can we get something going around that? Like, how can I contribute in the workplace in a way that's meaningful to me and that I enjoy it? To be able to really ask the question, where is space for me to be able to fully embrace this part of who I am at work?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. Let's wrap this up. I want to give the 3 how-tos.
Yeah.
And then let's try to do these 3 in a minute or less. You think we can do it? Maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So number 1, I'll do number 1. You'll come up with number 2.
Okay.
But number 1, identify and integrate personal passion. How do we do this? How do we bring our passion to work and our profession? Encourage team members to really identify. So if you're a leader out there, encourage your team to identify their passion and explore ways to integrate their interests into their current role. What is it that you're passionate about doing that you can integrate into your current role? This could involve allocating time for passion projects or aligning roles with personal interests.
Yeah. Number 2, create a passion-driven culture, right? So fostering an environment where passion is valued and nurtured. So even using the word passion as we talk about work, right? This could be through regular team discussions about personal and professional interests, encourage continuous learning like you talked about earlier, or celebrating individual achievements that reflect personal passions, right?
Yeah.
Recognition, rewarding. When I see that your passion's coming out and you're doing great work, recognizing that.
Yeah. Number 3, balance and boundaries. This is something that you're huge on. I said last week that you help keep me balanced and keep those boundaries around me. Implementing these things, right? And implementing and modeling healthy work-life practices, harmony, ensures that while passion is encouraged, it is not at the expense of personal well-being. There has to be a balance there. You still have to take care of yourself, your mental health, and your personal boundaries. And so offering resources, offering support, organization leaders out there, offering these things, stress management, and maintaining boundaries to prevent that burnout phase is so key.
Yeah.
So key.
So big, so big. It's all about bringing your soul to work. It's knowing that my greatest passion and my greatest contributions colliding, and there's an impact in the world.
Yeah.
There's an impact in the workplace. I know that by me showing up and bringing my soul to work, it's going to make someone else's day better. It's going to make a customer's experience a little more fluid and clear, right? It's going to allow my team to be more synergized and connected together and engaged and more effective.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, after we leave work, it's still work.
Yeah.
And it's still life.
It's true.
And no matter where we go, guess who's going to be there?
Yeah.
Us.
Yep.
Right. And so
show up for yourself.
We have to start showing up for ourselves. I just listen, this is great.
Yeah.
And we just want to again emphasize for everybody that's out there, if you are looking for opportunities to build a culture of good in your business and connect in engaging effective ways for leadership and culture, make sure you visit cultureofgood.com today. Set up a 30-minute call with George and I, and we would love to have that discussion and talk and explore what are ways that we can do this that are tailored and custom. We have different solutions for different needs within an organization, right? So if there's an event that you have a keynote and you want to bring in passion culture to your business and to that conversation, you need the culture of good.
Yeah.
George and I could come in and do that, or workshopping with your leadership team. So look at cultureofgood.com. We actually just uploaded the new site this week.
New site is looking beautiful.
It's not bad.
Looking beautiful. Very clean and crispy. Very clean and crispy. Crispy.
Instead of clean and crisp.
Yeah.
Clean crispy.
and crispy. Yeah, it's crispy. Very crispy, ladies and gentlemen.
Love it.
Hey, listen, some takeaways, some action steps, self-assessment, networking, educate and skill development, and strategic career planning. If you want to learn more about that as well, as Ryan said, visit culturegood.com. Also, we have our Culture Good diagnostic assessment tool that's on the website as well.
Yep.
So if you are looking to engage or gauge where your culture is within your workplace, it's free. You can take the tool and use it within your workplace. I encourage you to do that, especially if you're listening to us. If you're one of our faithful followers out there, you haven't done it, I'm going to challenge you today. Before Friday, go on culturegood.com, do the diagnostic tool on your company. And it's just an honest feedback. That's between you and I and Ryan.
Yeah. We can have a discussion around it.
We can have a discussion to help coach you through some next steps and things of that nature. As well, January 23rd, 24th. If you got under 90 days now, January 23rd, 24th, we have our
early bird pricing ends on December 1st. So we only have
less than a
couple weeks.
2.5 weeks left.
2 weeks to get that early bird pricing.
What's the price?
Right now it's $1,250.
What is it going to?
$2,000.
And so we got some exciting things. We partnered with our good friends. People First is going to be joining us.
Yeah.
A little gamification. It's going to be fun. I'm really excited about that. To have Ali and Melanie joining us with our first 2-day certification training of 2024. Again, January 23rd, 24th. You can find all this information out on culturegood.com. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is George Rogers. I'm so glad that you joined us today here on Champion Your Culture, the podcast with my good friend Ryan McCarty.
And we'll see you back next week on
Champion Your Culture.
Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us on Champion Your Culture podcast today.
We're so excited that you're here and want to invite you to connect with us. You can watch the show weekly on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and listen anywhere you get podcasts.
Subscribe today to get new relevant content each week on how to champion yourself and your team. Thanks again for listening to Champion Your Culture.